My dudes, get your loops! Did you miss me? Bring it in, boys, I'm sorry. I know, it's been a while. But like I said in my last video, we're going big! And instead of just complaining about the gaming industry, I'm gonna make my own game. And like a wise man once said,
俺たち乗った列車は途中下車はできないんだ。
there ain't no getting off this train we're on. Well, it's been almost 2 months, so here's a small dev update. The game is called RuneKeeper The Shattered Realms. Now before you get excited, this is very early on in development, and while I've been busting my ass like a kid making bricks in India, what you're seeing here is mostly visual and lacking gameplay. I think most games do this backwards, but to be honest, I feel a lot more motivated working on something that doesn't look like some demo. And also I can take breaks from stuff that's a lot less fun like coding and just zone out while building the world. It also lets me replace things over time that just don't look right, instead of just throwing all the art together towards the end, meaning we can get the art direction figured out early. RuneKeeper The Shattered Realms is gonna be an open world sandbox RPG with a focus on monster taming. And before you tell me in the comments how difficult it's gonna be making something on this scale is, trust me, I am well aware. But you either go big or go bust, so we're going big bust. I know a lot of my viewers are fans of JRPGs, and so was I. But honestly, after Final Fantasy X came out, I kinda lost interest in the genre. And that's because they started becoming more and more linear and focused mainly on graphics instead of exploration. You already know it, but my favorite game of all time is Final Fantasy VII, and while that game isn't open world, because of its world map, vehicles, and hiding secret items and areas all over the place, it makes it feel larger than it really is. It just has loading every now and then. But hey, even Bethesda games have that. So here's the game plan. I'm taking inspiration from 3 of my favorite games of all time. World of Warcraft Vanilla? No, not this soy body type A and B version out today. And then there's another MMO that only the OGs know about, called Dark Age of Camelot. And lastly, a game I did a video a while back on called Ultima VII, and a little bit from its online version called Ultima Online. Now from World of Warcraft, I am borrowing heavily from the fluidity of movement, camera control, combat, sense of exploration, and the talent system, which was awesome. What sets RuneKeeper apart from it is that our talent system is going to be completely classless. You're going to have the option to be a jack of all trades or hyper-focus on a certain build like magic, melee, archery, and monster taming. Now when I say monster taming, I don't want you to think I'm making some kind of Pokemon game. Instead, you're going to be able to fight alongside your monsters, and their abilities will be a part of your toolkit. Think of it like the hunter pets in WoW, but instead of being locked into a ranged character, you're going to be able to build something like a tank that has a healing pet that heals you and gives you buffs. Or you can do the opposite thing and make a healer and let your pet do all the work. It's up to you. That being said though, you're not forced to tame monsters if you don't want to deal with the system at all, and then just go full magic or melee. But you're gonna be missing out, trust me. Now from Dark Age of Camelot, what I really liked from that game was the setting, story, and world building, with its 3 factions at war, and you could choose to be a part of one of them. I'll talk more about the lore in a later video, but right now I'm gonna just be focusing on one faction based on Arthurian lore, which is my favorite fantasy setting. Who doesn't like badass plate armor, shields, and swords? And no, unlike those cowards at Square Enix who bent the knee and censored the cross of their cleric class, I'm not gonna be doing that here. If your game's not offending somebody, you're doing something wrong. Another thing I'm borrowing from Dark Age of Camelot is the armor and weapon system, which lets you change weapons mid-combat, and also a bit of its UI elements. In my opinion, the more item slots you have, the better. None of this dumbing down gameplay mechanics like Bethesda has done to its games over the years. I also don't like it when games pause because you open up the inventory, and the inventory takes up the whole screen. So as you can see here, the UI is gonna look simple, but have a lot of mechanics built in. Now this brings us back to the last game, Ultima VII, which is what I'm taking inspiration from the most. This is a game that came out in 1992, and no joke, it has more freedom than Skyrim. You can interact with almost everything in the world, put shit wherever you want, go wherever you want, and to get items, you actually have to move them from the world and into your bag. The reason I'm doing it like this is because I think it's gonna be actually fun to loot things. I can't stand it when you're just running through a cave and all the items are shiny things on the ground, or just the words pop up on the screen. Come on, Japan. I'm also gonna let you kill anybody that you want. None of this invincible NPC shit. Why won't you die, Mufasa?
It's Musa from Mali.
Who gives a shit? He's the worst part of the game. So if you guys find an annoying NPC that you don't like, you can just take care of it. And when you do, they're gonna drop all the gear, not just some leather scraps or an apple or some shit. Anyways, we're working on the inventory and combat systems right now, and I should have a lot of that to show in the next video. But right now, a lot of the UI work is finished and being adjusted as we work on the game. So what's this game being built on? Well, there is one other person helping me right now with coding that works in the games industry, and he's been helping a ton with things that would just take too long to figure out. And to be honest, he's also been getting on my ass to make sure things get done right. The thing is, while I've been called many things on my channel, one thing I've never been called is a coder. I'm a pro gamer, not a programmer. Look at me go. But seriously, I don't know a damn thing about coding. So to get this project started, I had to pick an engine. The biggest options are Godot, Unity, or Unreal. And while I would have loved to go with Unity or Godot, I would have to heavily rely on getting help from somebody that can code. And since I don't own a daycare center in Minnesota, I can't afford to pay for a full-time programmer. So that leaves us with Unreal, which happens to be the most popular engine for AAA studios. And that's because it's the easiest to use with its blueprint system. So we're going with that one. And hey, if all these purple-haired weirdo devs on Blue Sky can learn it, I figure I got a chance. And look, I know what you're thinking. Unreal? The game's gonna run like crap. Well, here's the thing. I'm gonna be building this game mostly using low poly assets and pixel sprites, which is just not gonna put a lot of stress on the engine, allowing us to push it further with lighting and visual effects. I mean, look at this. Bam! Lightning strike, bitches. Unreal also has a ton of tutorials on YouTube that I can watch to make this dream come a reality. I started off by taking this short course, which taught me the engine basics and how to use sprites in Unreal by this dude named Cobra Code. And while his course was more for JRPGs that have a fixed camera like Octopath Traveler, I don't think I could have gotten started with Unreal without this guide. And I know that some people just don't like pixel art, like this dude here. Come on, man. I don't know what to tell you. I got the idea after playing Star Ocean 2 Remake last summer, and that game slaps. I know I shit on Square Enix a lot, but they didn't mess this one up somehow. Check out these bazongas. I also considered going with a low poly art style like in Mega Man Legends, which honestly would be pretty badass. But even if I found somebody to make 3D models that don't suck, having to animate them with multiple animations is just too much. Now that doesn't mean pixel sprite art is easy, nor is it cheap if you want to hire a professional sprite artist. You see, one thing I want in the game for sure is a fully rotational camera, as you can see here. But since this isn't the standard in sprite characters, not only has it brought on a ton of challenges with coding, it now means that we need to make omnidirectional sprites instead of the standard 4, which most companies have gone with since the Nintendo era. But this allows us to have a camera that rotates smoothly around your character. And if you don't think this is a big change, you'd be wrong. You see, with 4 directions, you only need to make your animations for 3 directions, and then you mirror the left or right one for east and west. But with 8, we need to animate 5 directions and mirror 3 of them. And these sprites aren't simple. Each one needs to have these animations: an idle, a walk, a run, get hit, a death animation, and either 1 or 2 attack animations. Having to do this for 5 directions is a ton of work, and you get sprite sheets that look like this. It kinda makes you think though, with how much money Square Enix makes from their HD 2D games, them not putting running or attack animations into Dragon Quest III Remake when they only had a couple of directions is a bunch of bullshit. So anyways, I started learning sprites when I started the project. Hell, I even made this rabbit. It took me a couple hours, but I did it. But I soon realized that it's just too much work to learn. So I did some Googling. There's a lot of pixel artists on Fiverr that looked promising. I paid this one dude to make a horse, and I gotta admit, it's the lamest thing I've ever seen. Check out the walk animation. What the hell even is that? I just canceled the order. You get what you pay for, I guess. What we need is a man with principles, one that can pay attention to the finer things. So I did some deep searching and found some dude that makes a lot of, questionable sprite art. I don't know what the obsession is with putting man meat on everything you make, but hey, if you can pull off memories on a raptor, I'm sure you could handle a few monsters. And what do you know? Things have been working out. That being said though, one person making sprites is just not enough. So I reached out for help on the channel, and we got 2 people from our own community that are helping out a ton. And while they're not professionals, they're really talented, so the game is in good hands. We could always use more help though if anybody knows how to make sprites out there. So what about in-game assets? Well, there's 2 ways that we can go about with this. We can make assets with high-res textures that have been scaled down to look pixelated, but it's not not real pixel art. And even though it doesn't look that bad, it clashes with the sprites. I'm trying to avoid something called mixels as much as possible, meaning putting objects in the world that all have different pixel sizes. Is this a big deal? Well, judge for yourself. Here's a game called Aegis Force. They don't care about mixels at all. As you can see that these rocks all have different pixel sizes because they just shrank down the same rock. There's just something about it that looks off. What this means though is that in order for us to get everything to look right, we need to have real pixel art textures placed onto 3D models. Now, while there are a lot of people that either make pixel art or 3D art, there are not many people that can do both. I tried to learn a program called Blender, but not only is this thing boring, it's hard as hell. So I looked for another program, and that's when I found something called Blockbench, which I've been using to make a lot of models myself. But for stuff I can't make, I can get somebody else on Fiverr or something to make them, and then just adjust the textures and coloring to make sure everything looks right in the game, and it's looking pretty good. But one thing I've been struggling with are rocks and cliffs. I've tried to get some from the Unreal Market store, but they seem to stretch and distort the pixel texture. So if anybody out there is good at making boulders, let me know. But that's about where we're at right now. There's a lot of other stuff I could talk about, like the interactable objects I have in the game, but I'll save that stuff for the next video where I can go over the gameplay more in depth. If you're interested in helping with the project, hit me up on Discord and let me know. I'd appreciate it. It would help out a ton to get this project going. And lastly, I know I got a lot of supporters on Patreon and YouTube members that joined because of my previous content. I appreciate all the support. If you mad lads still want to see where this project goes, everything I make from this channel is going to the project, with the end goal of launching a Kickstarter. I'll have options to let people design their own monsters, and also early build access later on if you're interested in that sort of thing. Anyways, I'll see you in the next video. I gotta get out of here. Peace.